On a tranquil suburban morning, as the sun painted the sky with hues of dawn, Daniel felt a strange unease. He observed his new neighbor's house from his kitchen window. The metallic exterior shimmered, the yard held otherworldly, faintly glowing flora, and cryptic symbols adorned the walls. He had only glimpsed his neighbor a few times, a towering figure with a silvery sheen to their skin and glowing eyes, dressed in shifting, almost living fabric. They arrived in a humming, futuristic vehicle, unlike any car Daniel had ever seen. The day before, he'd seen them communicating with a glowing orb, uttering words in an unknown language. As evening fell, the neighbor's house illuminated with an ethereal glow, deepening Daniel's curiosity. Sleep evaded him that night, his mind buzzing with questions. The next morning, he saw the neighbor gazing skyward, their eyes shining brightly. He thought he saw a shadowy form shifting behind them. Realizing this was no ordinary person, Daniel decided he had to know the truth. Later that day, he approached the neighbor's house, his heart pounding. Before he could knock, the door slid open, revealing the towering figure. "You must be Daniel. I've been expecting you," the being said. Stunned, Daniel entered. The interior pulsed with light, the air carrying a fresh, rain-like scent. Floating screens displayed incomprehensible symbols, and soft lights danced across the room. It resembled a spaceship more than a house. He sat in a chair that materialized seemingly from thin air. "I know this is a lot to take in," the being began, "but you need to hear this. You are not the only one with questions. I've been sent on a mission involving you and your planet." Daniel, bewildered, managed to ask, "My planet? Earth?" "Yes, Earth. Your world is in danger, and I'm here to help, but I need your assistance." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. The being continued, lowering their voice, "There are beings out there who see Earth as nothing more than a resource, a place to exploit. Others wish to eradicate humanity entirely." Daniel's stomach churned. "Why me?" he stammered. "Why would you need my help?" The being's eyes softened. "Because, Daniel, you are different. You possess a rare curiosity and bravery. You seek answers and are unafraid of the truth, however strange." Daniel struggled to comprehend. "But how can I help? I'm just an ordinary person." The being smiled, a calm yet ancient smile. "You will learn, Daniel. You will learn things you never imagined, things about your world and others. Things that could change everything." Daniel shook his head. "I don't know if I can handle this." The being placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You are ready, Daniel. Everything in your life has led you to this moment. Now, you must decide if you will help us." Taking a deep breath, Daniel agreed. "Okay, I'll help. What do I need to do?" The being's eye sparkled. "You've made the right choice. Together, we can stop them. There is much to learn, and time is short. We must act quickly." The being turned to a floating screen, symbols flashing across it. "Prepare yourself, Daniel. This meeting was only the beginning." Daniel sat, absorbing the revelation that Earth was in danger and he was somehow involved. He watched as the being manipulated the glowing screen. "You must be wondering why I'm here," the being said, as if reading his mind. "Yes," Daniel admitted, his voice shaky. "Why me? And what exactly are we supposed to do?" The being turned slowly. "Because you are the key. Certain individuals, certain groups on Earth, have begun to see the warning signs. Daniel, you're connected to them. You've been asking the right questions all along." Daniel's head spun. "Connected to them? What do you mean?" The being stepped closer, their eyes glowing softly. "There are people on Earth who know what's happening, groups aware of the danger but unsure how to stop it. They've been searching for someone to guide them, someone to connect the pieces." "So you want me to help these people?" Daniel asked, bewildered. "But I don't know anything about stopping this." The being smiled reassuringly. "That's where you're wrong, Daniel. You already know more than you think. You've always been inquisitive, seeking knowledge. That's why you're here now. The screen flashed, displaying a map of Earth marked with unfamiliar symbols, lines, and glowing points. Areas shaded in red, and a pulsing symbol at the center. This, the being said, pointing to the central symbol, is where the threat originates. They've been watching Earth for years, waiting for the right time to strike. And they've already begun. Daniel's breath hitched. Are they coming now? They are already here, the being replied simply, but you will help us stop them. Daniel stared at the map in disbelief. The being touched a symbol, and a 3D hologram of a dark, jagged creature with piercing eyes materialized. This is one of them, the being said quietly. They come from beyond your solar system, far more advanced than humanity. They possess technology and weapons we cannot fight with brute force. Daniel recoiled. So we're just supposed to stand up against that? How can I help? The being turned to face him, their expression serious. You don't need weapons, Daniel. You need your mind. The groups protecting Earth need someone who can think like them, see the bigger picture. And you, Daniel, have that ability. Daniel felt a flicker of hope. Okay, he said slowly, but what do we do next? The being's eyes glowed brighter. First, we gather information. You'll meet with some of those already working to stop this threat. They've been waiting for someone like you. The hologram vanished, the symbols settling. Daniel stood, feeling a surge of energy. He didn't know what he was getting into, but for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose. I'm ready, he declared. Let's begin. On a peaceful suburban morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the rooftops, Ethan felt a growing sense of disquiet. From his kitchen window, he watched his new neighbor's unusual residence. Its metallic facade gleamed, the lawn hosted strange, faintly luminescent plants, and enigmatic symbols were etched into the exterior walls. He'd only caught fleeting glimpses of his neighbor, a tall individual with a silvery tint to their skin and luminous eyes, clad in clothing that seemed to shift and shimmer like it was alive. They had arrived in a low-humming, futuristic vehicle unlike any Ethan had ever encountered. Just the day before, he'd witnessed them seemingly conversing with a pulsating orb, speaking in an unfamiliar tongue. As dusk settled, the neighbor's house began to radiate a soft, otherworldly glow, amplifying Ethan's curiosity. Sleep proved elusive that night, his mind consumed with unanswered questions. The following morning, Ethan saw his neighbor gazing up at the sky, their eyes shining intensely. He could have sworn he saw a shadowy figure moving behind them, changing shape. Realizing this was no ordinary individual, Ethan resolved to uncover the truth. Later that day, he approached the neighbor's house, his heart pounding in his chest. Before he could even raise his hand to knock, the door silently slid open, revealing the imposing figure. Ethan, I believe? I've been anticipating your arrival, the being stated. Dumbfounded, Ethan stepped inside. The interior pulsed with soft light, the air filled with a fresh, almost rain-like fragrance. Floating screens displayed strange, unreadable symbols, and gentle lights danced around the room. The place resembled a spacecraft more than a house. He sat in a chair that seemed to materialize from the air itself. I understand this is a lot to process, the being began, but you must hear this. You are not the only one with questions. I've been sent here on a mission that concerns you and your world. Ethan, thoroughly bewildered, managed to stammer, my world? Earth? Indeed, Earth. Your planet faces a grave danger, and I'm here to assist, but I require your cooperation. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. The being continued, lowering their voice, there are entities out there who view Earth as nothing more than a resource, ripe for exploitation. Others desire the complete annihilation of humankind. A wave of nausea washed over Ethan. Why me? He stammered. Why would you possibly need my help? The being's eyes softened. Ethan, you are unique. You possess a rare blend of inquisitiveness and courage. You seek knowledge and are not intimidated by the unknown, regardless of how unusual it may seem. Ethan struggled to grasp the situation. But what can I possibly do? I'm just an ordinary person. The being smiled, a tranquil yet ancient smile. You will learn, Ethan. You will learn things beyond your wildest imagination, things about your world and countless others. Things that have the power to change everything. Ethan shook his head, still incredulous. I don't know if I can handle this. The being placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. You are prepared, Ethan. Everything in your life has led you to this very moment. Now, you must choose whether you will join us. Taking a deep breath, Ethan agreed. I'll help. What needs to be done? The being's eyes lit up. You've made the correct decision. Together, we can thwart them. There's much to learn, and time is of the essence. We must act swiftly. The being turned to a floating screen, symbols flashing across its surface. Prepare yourself, Ethan. This meeting is only the beginning. Ethan sat there, absorbing the shocking revelation that Earth was in danger and he was somehow a crucial part of its defense. He watched as the being manipulated the glowing screen. I imagine you're wondering why I chose you, the being said, as though reading his thoughts. Yes, Ethan admitted, his voice trembling. Why me? And what exactly are we supposed to do? The being turned slowly. Because you are the key. Certain individuals, specific groups on Earth, have started to recognize the warning signs. Ethan, you're linked to them. You've been asking the right questions all along. Ethan's head swam. Linked to them? What do you mean? The being stepped closer, their eyes radiating a gentle light. There are individuals on Earth who are aware of what's happening, groups cognizant of the looming danger but uncertain how to avert it. They've been searching for someone to guide them, someone to connect the dots. You want me to help these people? Ethan asked, completely lost. But I have no idea how to stop this. The being smiled reassuringly. That's where you're mistaken, Ethan. You already know more than you realize. You've always been inquisitive, constantly seeking knowledge. That's precisely why you're here. The screen flashed, displaying a map of Earth marked with strange symbols, lines, and glowing points. Some areas were shaded in red, and a pulsating symbol sat at the center. This, the being explained, pointing to the central symbol, is the origin of the threat. They've been observing Earth for years, biding their time, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. And they've already begun. Ethan's breath hitched. Are they coming now? They are already here, the being replied calmly, but with your help, we will stop them. Ethan stared at the map in disbelief. The being touched a symbol, and a three-dimensional hologram of a dark, jagged entity with piercing eyes materialized above the screen. This is one of them, the being whispered. They originate from beyond your solar system, far more technologically advanced than humanity. They possess weapons and technology we cannot hope to combat with brute force alone. Ethan recoiled, a chill running down his spine. So we're just supposed to face that? How can I possibly help? The being turned to face him, their expression serious. You don't need weapons, Ethan. You need your intellect. The group safeguarding Earth needs someone who can anticipate their moves, someone who can grasp the bigger picture. And you, Ethan, possess that very ability. Ethan felt a surge of hope. Okay, he said slowly, but what do we do next? The being's eyes glowed even brighter. First, we gather intelligence. You will meet with some of the individuals who are already actively working to counteract this threat. They've been waiting for someone with your unique perspective. The hologram dissolved, the symbols on the screen calming. Ethan stood, a wave of energy surging through him. He had no idea what he was getting into, but for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose. I'm ready, he declared. Let's begin. Ethan had been spending hours with the being, whom he now knew as Lyra, absorbing everything he could about Lyra's home world, their advanced technology, and the impending danger to Earth. The more he learned, the more he felt like a small piece of a much larger puzzle. But there was one nagging question he couldn't shake. Lyra had always been selective with the information she shared, and despite their open conversations, Ethan felt like something was being withheld. A few days later, he finally voiced his concerns. "Lyra," Ethan said, sitting across from her, "you've told me a lot about your world and what's coming for Earth, but I sense there's something you're not telling me. Is there something you're holding back?" Lyra's luminous eyes flickered momentarily, and she was silent for a beat longer than Ethan expected. He could tell she was carefully considering her response. "I'm not intentionally keeping anything from you, Ethan," Lyra finally said, her voice calm but cautious. "However, there is something crucial you need to understand. It's a complex matter, but it's vital that you know the full scope of the situation." Ethan leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. "What is it? What's so important?" Lyra seemed to hesitate, and for a moment her gaze drifted to the window, where the distant stars were barely visible through the daytime sky. It was as if she was gathering the strength to share something deeply personal. Then she turned back to Ethan. "Earth is not the only planet in danger," Lyra began, her voice low. "This threat, it's not isolated to Earth. It's much larger than that." Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. "What do you mean? If it's bigger than Earth, then who else is in danger?" Lyra exhaled slowly. "My people, as my world, we are also at risk. This danger isn't just an invasion, it's a long-planned assault against the entire galaxy." Ethan felt a wave of dizziness wash over him. "So it's not just about Earth? It's about the whole galaxy?" Lyra nodded gravely. "Yes. They've been orchestrating this for centuries. And Earth, as you now know, is at the center of it all. Your planet possesses a rare element, something the invaders need to power their weaponry. That's why they've come here." Ethan struggled to process the information. "A rare element? But what is it? What does Earth have that they want?" Lyra looked down for a moment, collecting her thoughts. "I can't reveal the specifics just yet, but I can tell you it's something deep within your planet, something even your scientists haven't discovered. Only a select few are aware of its existence, and those who are trying desperately to protect it." Ethan's anxiety grew. "Who are these people? The ones trying to protect it?" Lyra hesitated again, her luminous eyes narrowing slightly. "I can't divulge everything, but I will say this, some of your world leaders are aware of the element and have been collaborating with my people in secret. They're trying to prevent the invaders from obtaining what they seek. They are few, and the invaders have already infiltrated some of your governing bodies. That's why we can't trust everyone." Ethan's head was spinning. "So there are people on Earth helping you, and others working with the invaders?" Lyra's expression hardened. "Yes. The invaders are masters of manipulation. They've infiltrated governments, corporations, even scientific institutions. They've been hiding in plain sight, pulling strings from the shadows. They can make anyone believe they are one of us, but they are not." A chill ran down Ethan's spine. "But how do we stop them if they're everywhere?" Lyra looked at him intently. "That's where you come in, Ethan. You have the unique ability to see through deception. You've always questioned, always searched for the truth. You're not afraid to think differently. That's why I chose you. The invaders rely on fear and misinformation to control populations, but you can help people see the truth." Ethan had been spending countless hours with Lyra, absorbing as much as he could about her home world, its advanced technologies, and the looming threat to Earth. The deeper he delved, the more he felt like a small piece in a vast, complex puzzle. Yet, a nagging question persisted. Lyra had always been selective in the information she revealed, and despite their open communication, Ethan sensed something remained hidden. A few days later, he finally voiced his concerns. "Lyra," Ethan said, sitting opposite her, "you've been incredibly forthcoming about your world and the danger facing Earth, but I still feel like there's something you're not telling me. Is there something you're holding back?" Lyra's luminous eyes flickered, and a beat of silence hung in the air longer than Ethan anticipated. He could sense her carefully considering her response. "I'm not intentionally keeping anything from you, Ethan," Lyra finally replied, her voice even but cautious. But there's a crucial element you need to understand. It's a delicate matter, but it's imperative that you grasp the full gravity of the situation. Ethan leaned forward, his intrigue deepening. What is it? What's so important? Lyra seemed to hesitate, her gaze drifting towards the window, where the distant stars were barely perceptible in the daytime sky. It was as if she was drawing strength from a distant source. Then, she turned back to Ethan. Earth isn't the only planet in danger, she began, her voice low. This threat, it's not confined to Earth. It's far greater than that. Ethan felt a wave of dizziness. What do you mean? If it's bigger than Earth, then who else is at risk? Lyra exhaled slowly. My people as my world, we are also in peril. This isn't just an invasion, it's a meticulously planned assault on the entire galaxy. Ethan felt his breath catch in his throat. So, it's not just about Earth? It's about the whole galaxy? Lyra nodded solemnly. Yes. They've been orchestrating this for centuries. And Earth, as you now know, is at the epicenter. Your planet harbors a rare element, something the invaders require to power their arsenal. That's why they're here. Ethan struggled to comprehend the enormity of the situation. A rare element? But what is it? What does Earth have that they want so badly? Lyra looked down for a moment, composing her thoughts. I can't disclose the specifics yet, but it's something deep within your planet, something your scientists haven't even discovered. Only a select few are aware of its existence, and those who are fighting desperately to protect it. Ethan's anxiety intensified. Who are these people? The ones trying to protect it? Lyra hesitated again, her luminous eyes narrowing slightly. I can't reveal everything, but some of your world leaders know about the element and have been working with my people in secret. They're trying to prevent the invaders from acquiring what they seek. Their numbers are few, and the invaders have already infiltrated some of your governing bodies. That's why we can't trust everyone. Ethan's head spun. So there are people on Earth helping you, and others collaborating with the invaders? Lyra's expression hardened. Yes. The invaders are masters of manipulation. They've infiltrated governments, corporations, even scientific institutions. They've been hiding in plain sight, manipulating events from the shadows. They can perfectly mimic our appearance, but they're not us. A chill ran down Ethan's spine. How can we possibly stop them if they're everywhere? Lyra looked at him intently. That's where you come in, Ethan. You have a unique ability to see through deception. You've always questioned, always sought the truth. You're not afraid to think differently. That's why I chose you. The invaders rely on fear and disinformation to control populations, but you can help people see the truth. Ethan felt a surge of resolve. The immense scope of the situation was terrifying, but he also felt a newfound sense of purpose. Okay, he said, his voice determined. I'll do whatever I can. But what's the first step? Lyra's eyes glowed brightly. First, we connect with the network. You'll meet with some of those already working to counter this threat. They've been waiting for someone like you. Someone who can see the connections, someone who can understand the bigger picture. She gestured towards the screen, which now displayed a complex network of interconnected nodes. This is the resistance. They're scattered, disorganized, but they're our only hope. You, Ethan, will be the catalyst that unites them. Ethan studied the network, his mind racing. He didn't know any of these people, didn't know what to expect. But he knew he had to try. I'm ready, he said, his voice filled with a newfound conviction. Let's begin. Lyra smiled, a genuine, hopeful smile that warmed Ethan despite the chilling circumstances. Excellent. Our journey starts now. James felt a surge of resolve. The galaxy was at stake, and he was a crucial part of its defense. Okay, he said, his voice firm. I understand. What's the first step? Vera's eyes glowed brightly. First, you need to connect with the network. You'll meet with some of those already working to counteract this threat. They've been anticipating someone like you, someone who can see the connections, someone who can grasp the bigger picture. Vera gestured toward a screen, which now displayed a complex web of interconnected points. This is the resistance. Fragmented, disorganized, but they're our only hope. You, James, will be the catalyst that unites them. James studied the network, his thoughts racing. He didn't know any of these individuals, had no idea what to expect. But he knew he had to try. I'm ready, he declared, his voice filled with newfound conviction. Let's begin. Vera smiled, a genuine, hopeful smile that warmed James despite the chilling circumstances. Excellent. Our journey begins now. The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. James trained extensively with Vera, honing his ability to blend in, to move undetected amongst the invaders. He learned their customs, their language, their technology. He studied their weaknesses, their strategies. He became a shadow, a ghost, preparing to move unseen within their ranks. Vera shared stories of Zorth, not just of its advanced technology and looming threats, but of its vibrant culture, its history, its people. James, in turn, shared more of his own life, his dreams, his fears. Their bond deepened, evolving beyond a partnership into a genuine friendship. One evening, as they shared a meal of Zorthian cuisine, James asked Vera, "What do you miss most about home?" Vera paused, their luminous eyes thoughtful. "The sunsets," they finally said, "the way the light dances across the deserts. But I've also come to appreciate Earth. Its energy, it's vibrant and strong." James smiled. "I never really thought about it like that." The time for training eventually came to an end. The invaders' presence on Earth was growing, their influence spreading. The resistance needed to act, and James was ready. Vera equipped him with a sophisticated communication device, a Zorthian technology that allowed him to connect with the resistance network across vast distances. "This will keep you connected," Vera explained. "Use it wisely." James took the device, his heart pounding. This was it. He and Vera boarded a sleek, cloaked vehicle, a Zorthian transport designed for stealth. They sped silently through the city, arriving at an inconspicuous building on the outskirts. Inside, the building buzzed with activity. People huddled around computers, studying maps, whispering urgently into communicators. An older man with a stern expression approached James. "You must be James," he said. "We've been expecting you." Vera confirmed James is ready. He can handle whatever comes next. The man nodded. "Good. Your first mission is crucial. We need you to infiltrate an invader stronghold. It's heavily guarded, but you have the unique advantage of blending in." James's pulse quickened. "Infiltrate the enemy." This was it. "I can do it," he said, his voice unwavering. He glanced at Vera, who offered a small, encouraging nod. The mission was fraught with danger. James used his training to move unseen through the stronghold, gathering intelligence, identifying key personnel, mapping the facility. He witnessed firsthand the invaders' insidious methods, their manipulation, their exploitation of Earth's resources. The experience solidified his resolve. He had to stop them, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. He transmitted his findings back to the Resistance, providing crucial information that would help them plan their next move. As he completed his mission and prepared to extract, he encountered an unexpected complication, a high-ranking invader official, unlike any he had seen before. This individual radiated power, intelligence, a chilling aura of malevolence. James, despite his fear, managed to remain undetected, observing the officials' movements, listening to their conversations. He discovered a critical piece of information: the invaders planned to accelerate their operations, to seize control of Earth's governments, to extract the valuable element that fueled their weaponry. He knew he had to get this information back to the Resistance, no matter the cost. James, using his cunning and training, managed to escape the stronghold, relaying the critical information to Vera and the Resistance. They knew time was running out. The invaders were close to achieving their goals. They had to act quickly, decisively. James, no longer the ordinary man who had once enjoyed quiet evenings in his suburban home, was now a key player in a galactic conflict. He stood alongside Vera, alongside the Resistance, ready to face the coming storm. He was afraid, yes, but he was also determined. He had found his purpose, a purpose far greater than he could have ever imagined. The fate of Earth, the fate of the galaxy, rested in their hands. And they were ready to fight.